At 1 a.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I was half awake, half dreaming. The kind of exhausted where your mind floats somewhere between hope and denial. I reached for the screen expecting a simple running late or don't wait up. But instead I saw 10 words that didn't just wake me up, they burned straight through my chest. Don't wait for me tonight. No explanation, no apology, not even my name. Just a command. Like she was notifying the doorman of a hotel she barely remembered staying in. I stared at the message for a long moment, letting the words settle, letting reality slowly reveal itself like a cold dawn. My wife Sarah had been slipping away from me for months. Not physically, no, physically she was still in the same house, the same bed, the same routines. But emotionally she had left long ago. She just forgot to take her toothbrush and the wedding ring she rarely wore anymore. I sat up, rubbed a hand over my face and felt something shift inside me. A kind of stillness, a clarity, the kind that comes after you've been hurt enough times that the wound stops bleeding and turns to iron. I didn't text her back immediately. I didn't call. I didn't demand explanations or pretend I believed whatever lie she would surely craft. Instead, I stood from the bed and walked quietly through our house. The house I built with my own hands, literally. I'm a contractor. Every beam, every tile, every doorway in that place in Aurora, Colorado had my sweat in it, my dreams, my future. But tonight, it felt like a museum of a life that no longer belonged to me. In the living room, the dim blue glow from a street lamp spilled through the blinds, cutting across the floor. I picked up my phone, opened the camera and took a picture. Not of myself, not of evidence, no. It was a picture of the living room. Clean, silent, empty. A picture that said everything I didn't need words for. No one is awake. No one is waiting. This home is no longer a place she can assume exists for her. Then I typed my reply. No one is waiting for you. I hit send. 7 minutes passed. 7 quiet, peaceful, liberating minutes. I was standing in the kitchen, drinking water from the tap like a man who had just walked out of a desert, when I heard it. The screech of tires on the driveway, a car door slamming, footsteps pounding up the walkway, the frantic rattle of keys dropping, fumbling, swearing, then snatching them from the ground. And then the front door burst open. Michael. Her voice cracked like glass. I didn't rush to meet her. I didn't soften. I didn't ask if she was okay. I simply remained where I was, leaning against the counter, watching her silhouette tremble in the hallway. When she stepped fully inside, the porch light behind her framed her like a ghost returning to the wrong address. I saw her face, pale, terrified, breath unsteady. She looked around wildly. The living room, the kitchen doorway, the staircase, then at me. Why? Why did you send that? She asked, voice shaking. I shrugged lightly, calm in a way that clearly terrified her more than anger ever could. You told me not to wait, I said. So I didn't. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. She seemed to expect yelling, accusations, drama, the emotional fireworks she'd grown addicted to while starving our marriage of everything real. But I wasn't angry. I was done. And that difference hit her harder than any argument ever could. Then her eyes landed on something behind me, and I watched the panic hit like a bolt of lightning. She stepped closer slowly, like she was afraid of what she might find. Michael, where is your bag? She whispered. In the truck, I said. Her lips parted. A soft breath left her lungs, like someone had just pressed a fist to her rib cage. She looked around the kitchen again, piecing things together. The empty hooks near the door, the missing jacket, the absence of my small things she'd always taken for granted. Her face crumpled. Are you leaving? I didn't answer. Not yet. Because what she saw inside that house wasn't chaos, betrayal, or another woman hiding in the shadows. It was something far worse. A man who had finally stopped begging to be loved. She swallowed hard. Michael, please tell me what's going on. I exhaled slowly. Sarah, I said softly, you should sit down. She didn't. She couldn't. She stood frozen in the doorway, like sitting down would somehow make everything real. I watched her chest rise and fall too quickly, her fingers trembling as they brushed hair away from her face. She looked like a woman staring at the edge of a cliff she never thought she'd be pushed toward. Michael, please, she whispered again. I finally moved, walking past her into the living room. She followed me like a shadow, every step hesitant, fragile, almost childlike. She kept searching my eyes for the anger she expected, the explosion she had prepared for. but found nothing but a calmness she couldn't read. And that calmness was destroying her. "Why are your things gone?" she asked, voice cracking. "Where were you going?" "Anywhere but here," I said simply. Her face twisted with confusion and fear. "Michael, I didn't mean you're overreacting. You always jump to conclusions." I let out a small breath. Not a laugh, just disbelief disguised as exhaustion. "You think this is about one text?" I said. "Sarah, this is about the last year." She blinked rapidly like she didn't understand, or didn't want to. "The coldness," I continued. "The distance. The silence. The way you turned our marriage into something I had to tiptoe around. The way you stopped looking at me like I was someone you loved and started looking at me like I was interrupting your life." Her eyes glistened. "That's not true." "Then tell me where you were tonight." That stopped her. Her lips pressed together. Her eyes dropped to the floor. And I had my answer. "You don't have to confess," I said quietly. "I already know enough." A tear slipped down her cheek. Michael, I wasn't doing anything wrong." I nodded slowly. Maybe not. But I know you weren't with me, and you haven't been for a long time." The room felt heavier. The quiet between us stretched like a wound tearing open. She walked closer, arms wrapped around her chest like she was suddenly freezing. "But leaving? Packing your things? You didn't talk to me. You didn't ask." "Sarah," I cut in gently. "I've been talking while you've been gone for months. I spoke to you every time I asked if you were okay. Every time I touched your hand and you pulled away. Every night I waited in bed while you sat downstairs on your phone for hours." Her chin trembled. She looked like she wanted to deny it, but she couldn't. "And tonight," I said softly, "you told me not to wait for you. So I listened." She wiped her cheeks quickly. "I came home because you scared me. Michael, when you sent that picture, it felt like you were saying goodbye." I said. Her breath hitched. She stepped closer, voice breaking. "Please don't leave. Please. Whatever you think happened tonight, it wasn't like that." I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in a long time I felt nothing pulling me back. No guilt. No hope. No instinct to fix something bent completely out of shape. "Sarah," I said quietly, "you stopped waiting for me a long time ago. I'm just catching up." That sentence shattered her. She took a shaky breath, reached out like she wanted to hold on to me, but stopped herself when she realized she no longer knew how. "Can we fix this?" she whispered. "Can we try?" I shook my head gently. Trying only works when both people show up. I've been alone in this marriage for too long. Silence. Heavy. Final. She grabbed my arm, the first time she touched me in months. "Michael, don't go. Please. I'll do better. I'll be better." I pulled my arm away slowly, not harshly, just enough to show her the truth she had ignored. I wasn't running. She had already let go first. I picked up my keys from the bowl by the door. Her voice broke into pieces. "Michael, please don't leave me." I paused, hand on the doorknob, and looked back at her. The woman who once held my entire world in her hands and then, slowly, carelessly, let it fall. "I didn't leave you tonight," I said. "You left me a long time ago. I'm just finally walking out of the empty space you created." Her knees gave out. She sank to the floor, sobbing into her hands. I stepped outside into the cold night air, closed the door gently behind me, and walked toward my truck. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with the quiet peace of a man who finally understood something simple. Not every marriage ends with a fight. Some end with a message at 1 a.m.